Is Dameon Pierce being overdrafted right now? Can he finish as a top 24 running back in 2022? Could he be this year's James Robinson? We're going to talk about all that and more right now. Let's ride. Welcome back in. Welcome back in. So let's go ahead and get right into it. He was drafted in the 4th round or 107th overall. He comes out of the University of Florida. Now, he didn't have a huge role. He never had over 600 rushing yards in a season. Last year, he had 100 carries for 574 rushing yards, 13 touchdowns. He had 19 receptions for 216 receiving yards. He was 34th in yards after contact per attempt, and he was 10th in yards per route run. Now, he was a big-time riser out of the Senior Bowl. He absolutely crushed the Senior Bowl. He definitely crushed the Senior Bowl. I mean, he was probably the biggest name or the biggest riser from the Senior Bowl coming out. I mean, there was tons of hype around Dameon Pierce at that time, but then that hype kind of died down a little. He goes through the draft process. He gets drafted in the 4th round, and then from there, it's been kind of dead. Like he's always been a guy a lot of people were talking about as kind of a late round target, but now all of a sudden we're talking about him going on this meteoric rise through training camp and preseason, and maybe it's something we should have expected coming because this backfield has absolutely nobody in it. You're talking about Marlon Mack, who's coming off an Achilles injury, and the Colts let him go, and then he signs with the Texans. And Rex Burkhead is still here, but I mean, I think at best, maybe he's a 3rd down back. Rex Burkhead only has 2 career games of over 100 yards his entire career. I mean, he's very much the quintessential Jag, but we'll see how much of a role he has. But overall, the opportunity is right there before Dameon Pierce. Lovie Smith has already come out and named him the starter. He is the starting running back for this team. And obviously in a short sample size of preseason, 11 carries, he did have 86 yards and a touchdown. He was the highest graded PFF rusher, this preseason. And he also was top 4 in yards after contact per attempt as well. Again, short sample size, but should be noted. And he was also very good in pass protection, which should help him, with a second-year quarterback in Davis Mills. Now, this isn't an offense that's loaded with talent either. I mean, you're talking about Brandon Cooks being the best option here, which Brandon Cooks is always undervalued. But, it's Brandon Cooks, it's late-round target Nico Collins. Brevin Jordan is named to talk about as like a possible guy who kind of rises up a little bit, second-year tight end from Ole Miss. But, I mean, this isn't an offense that's loaded. Now, this offensive line last year was dreadful. 32nd adjusted line yards last year. But I should be mentioned that Laremy Tunsil only played in 5 games due to a thumb injury. He is back fully healthy. They also went out and added through the draft Kenyon Green, who's likely going to be the starting left guard, which should be a big upgrade from what they had last year. And then they also added A.J. Cann, which isn't a big upgrade, but it's still better than what they had last year at right guard, which is also probably more notably going to allow them to move Titus Howard out to right tackle, which is where he is best suited to play. Honestly, right now, PFF has them ranked as the 23rd overall offensive line this year. And then I also think there's some room for improvement. Maybe they could get up to a top 18, top 19, type spot. Not a massive rise. This isn't going to be a top 15 offensive line or anything, but it's still going to be better than what it was last year. And so overall, when I look at something like Dameon Pierce, the question is where should you be looking to take him? Where is an appropriate place to take him, in drafts? And right now, I have no problem taking him as your RB2. I think it's definitely something you can look at doing. Yes, there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to feel comfortable with doing so. I get it. He's kind of an unknown, but opportunity is king in fantasy football, and that's all we should care about. He's projected to be the starter in this backfield. He's likely going to get anywhere from 16 to 18 touches per game. He's going to be utilized in the passing game. He is a decent pass-catching running back. Like we talked about, he was 10th in yards per route run at Florida. And so there's just nobody else here in the backfield. There's nobody that's going to take touches away from him. I'm not worried about Marlon Mack or Rex Burkhead. And so really he's kind of going in that Josh Jacobs type range. And I would rather have him than Josh Jacobs. Yes, Josh Jacobs is in a better offense, but there's really nothing stopping the Raiders from giving, somebody like Zamir White more opportunities. And Amir Abdullah is supposed to be the pass-catching back there. So I just prefer Dameon Pierce because I'm not really worried about anybody taking this job from him. And he has looked like the best running back they have, and it's really not close. And so overall, draft Dameon Pierce. I have no problem with taking Dameon Pierce in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, somewhere right around there. If you start running back early, let's say you go anchor RB, and you get a running back in the 1st or 2nd round, DeAndre Swift or a Saquon Barkley, or in the 1st, if you get Jonathan Taylor or Christian McCaffrey or Dalvin Cook or whoever you get, and let's say you then from there you want to go anchor RB, and then you grab a couple wide receivers, in the 2nd and 3rd round, and then you draft your quarterback in the 4th or 5th round. And if Dameon Pierce is sitting there in the 6th and you still need another running back, I'm going to take Dameon Pierce over a lot of the other names that are going. You can still go back in the later rounds, in the 7th, 8th, maybe 9th round and get a Tony Pollard or a James Cook, and then you can follow it up with Tyler Algier. And yes, you're not going to feel comfortable with Dameon Pierce, but I think he can definitely pay off his draft capital, and I'm not afraid of taking him as high as he's going. Because if you really look at it right now, in terms of the landscape of the rookie running backs right now, you have Breece Hall right now, who is still battling it out with Michael Carter. I think by the end of the year, he's definitely going to be the lead back. I'm not that concerned with all the situation where a lot of people are more worried about Breece Hall. Obviously, Breece Hall is a better talent. Dameon Pierce does not have that. And then you go with like a Kenneth Walker, who's going in like the 9th round. He suffered he already had to have surgery for a hernia, or, so they say. I don't really know exactly what it is. Pete Carroll's being coy and Pete Carroll's being Pete Carroll, but he still has Rashad Penny to take care of, plus the injury. And then everybody else is kind of the late round guys. So honestly, right now, I mean, Dameon Pierce is a pretty intriguing name who's going to be the starting running back. Yes, it's on a bad offense, but there's going to be enough opportunities from there on a week-to-week basis that I think Dameon Pierce can be a fine RB2. Take Dameon Pierce where you can. Don't overdraft him. If someone's going to take him in the 3rd or 4th round, let somebody else do that. But if he falls into that 6th, 7th round range, I am about that life. I have no problem doing so. Fine with taking him as your RB2. Opportunity is king. Always remember that. I will catch you on the next one. Bye.